Welcome to the channel The Coin Guy, and what if I told you that the ordinary penny sitting in your cup holder right now, the one you almost threw into a fountain last week, could actually be worth $20 million. Most people see pennies as worthless, barely worth bending over to pick up off the sidewalk, but there's one particular penny from 2001 that has collectors, investors, and numismatists around the world absolutely losing their minds, and today I'm going to tell you exactly why this seemingly ordinary Lincoln cent has become one of the most talked about coins in modern American history. The 2001 Lincoln penny, specifically certain rare varieties from this year, has reached valuations that make even seasoned collectors do a double take, with the highest valued specimens reaching an astounding $20 million at private sales and exclusive auctions. And before you think this is just hype, let me walk you through exactly what makes this coin so incredibly special and why you need to check every single 2001 penny you come across. Now, to understand why this particular penny is worth so much, we need to go back to the year 2001 itself, a year that was already historic for many reasons, and the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents across multiple facilities including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, but something extraordinary happened during the production process that year. Something that would create one of the most valuable error coins in American history. The 2001 penny features the classic Lincoln Memorial reverse that had been used since 1959, and the obverse shows Abraham Lincoln's profile designed by Victor David Brenner way back in 1909, making it the longest-running design in U.S. coinage history. But what makes certain 2001 pennies worth millions isn't the design itself, it's what went wrong during production. You see, the U.S. Mint has incredibly strict quality control, but even with modern technology and multiple inspection points, errors slip through, and when they do, they create instant legends in the numismatic world. The most valuable 2001 pennies are those struck on wrong planchets, meaning the blank metal disc that should have been used for a penny was accidentally swapped with a planchet intended for a completely different denomination. And imagine a 2001 penny design struck on a quarter planchet, or even more incredibly, on a gold planchet that was meant for commemorative coins. These errors are so rare because they require multiple failures in the quality control process. The wrong planchet has to make it past inspectors, get fed into the press, get struck with the penny dies, and then somehow make it out of the mint and into circulation, all without anyone noticing. When collectors talk about the $20 million 2001 penny, they're referring to a specimen that was struck on a gold dollar planchet, creating a unique hybrid that combines the Lincoln penny design with the weight, composition, and precious metal content of a gold coin, and only a handful of these are known to exist. The discovery of these error coins sent shockwaves through the numismatic community, because error coins on wrong planchets, especially involving precious metals, are the holy grail of coin collecting. They're proof that even in our modern, automated world, magic can still happen. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The 2001 penny also has other valuable varieties that, while not worth $20 million, can still fetch anywhere from thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars. There are 2001 pennies with dramatic double dies, where the design elements appear twice due to a die production error, creating a ghostly doubling effect on Lincoln's profile or the lettering, and these double die pennies are highly sought after because they're visible to the naked eye and create a stunning visual effect that makes the coin instantly recognizable as special. There are also 2001 pennies struck on silver planchets, pennies with major striking errors where portions of the design are missing or dramatically misaligned, and pennies with unusual die cracks or cuts that create unique patterns on the coin's surface. What makes all of these errors so valuable is their rarity combined with the massive collector base for Lincoln cents. The Lincoln penny is the most collected coin series in America, with millions of enthusiasts building sets, hunting for varieties, and competing for the finest examples, so when a truly rare error appears, the competition drives prices to astronomical levels. Now, imagine you're going through your change one day, maybe you're at a gas station counting out pennies, or you're helping your grandparents sort through an old coin jar they've been filling for decades, and you spot a 2001 penny that looks slightly off, maybe it's the wrong color, or it feels heavier than normal, or the design looks misaligned. That moment of recognition, that realization that you might be holding something incredibly valuable, is what drives treasure hunters and coin enthusiasts to obsessively check every single penny that passes through their hands. The stories of people finding these valuable pennies are the stuff of legend. there's the story of a gas station clerk in Ohio who noticed a strange-looking penny in the register and pocketed it, only to discover years later when they had it appraised that it was worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's the tale of an elderly woman who brought a coffee can full of old pennies to a coin shop, and buried among the common dates was a 2001 error penny that sold at auction for enough money to completely change her retirement. These aren't just fairy tales, these are real stories that happen more often than you might think, because most people simply don't pay attention to their pocket change, and that's exactly why these valuable coins continue to circulate undiscovered. When one of these rare 2001 pennies does make it to auction, the bidding wars are intense, serious collectors, investment groups, and museums compete fiercely, driving prices higher and higher, and the $20 million valuation represents the absolute peak of the market, where a specimen with perfect provenance, pristine condition, and verified authenticity meets a buyer who absolutely must have it for their collection. Grading is absolutely crucial when it comes to these valuable pennies. A coin grading service like PCGS or NGC will authenticate the coin, verify the error, and assign it a numerical grade based on its condition, and the difference between a grade of MS-65 and MS-67 can mean millions of dollars in value. The 2001 pennies worth the highest amounts are those that went straight from the mint into someone's collection without ever circulating, maintaining their original mint luster and sharp strike. These coins are so pristine that they look like they were made yesterday, and that perfection is part of what justifies their incredible valuations. But here's the thing that makes this all so accessible and exciting: you don't need to be a millionaire to start hunting for valuable 2001 pennies, you just need to pay attention. Check your change carefully, look at the color and weight of each penny, examine them under good lighting for doubling or other errors, and if something looks unusual, get it checked out by a reputable coin dealer or grading service, because you never know when you might stumble upon a life-changing discovery. The psychology behind why people pay so much for these coins is fascinating. It's not just about the monetary value, it's about ownership of something truly rare and historically significant. It's about the story you get to tell, the prestige among fellow collectors, and the knowledge that you possess something that maybe only 5 or 10 other people in the entire world have. When you hold a $20 million penny in your hand, you're not just holding metal, you're holding a piece of minting history, a tangible example of human error creating something beautiful and valuable, and a symbol of the unexpected fortune that can hide in the most ordinary places. Now, I've told you about this incredible 2001 penny, but here's something that's going to blow your mind. There are 2 more pennies coming up in this video that are even more valuable, with price tags that will absolutely shock you, and one of them has an error so dramatic and so rare that when it was first discovered, experts couldn't believe their eyes. These upcoming coins have even more incredible stories, even more outrageous valuations, and even better chances of actually being found because they came from years with higher production numbers and more circulation. So don't you dare click away now, because what's coming next will change the way you look at pennies forever, and if you think $20 million is impressive, just wait until you hear what the next penny is worth. But before we move on, take a moment right now, grab any 2001 pennies you have nearby, really look at them, check the color, feel the weight, examine every detail, because somewhere out there, someone is going to find one of these $20 million coins, and it might as well be you. The 2001 Lincoln penny proves that treasure isn't always buried on desert islands or hidden in ancient tombs. Sometimes it's sitting right there in your pocket change, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for, and now you are one of those people. Next, 1984 Lincoln penny, and if you thought that $20 million 2001 penny was incredible, buckle up because what I'm about to tell you will absolutely blow your mind. Picture this: you're sorting through a box of old pennies, maybe from a deceased relative's estate, maybe from your own childhood collection, and you come across a 1984 penny with a small D mint mark under the date. You might think nothing of it, just another common penny from the 1980s, but what if I told you that one specific variety of the 1984 Lincoln penny has sold for a jaw-dropping $28 million, making it one of the single most valuable pennies ever discovered in American numismatic history? The 1984 Lincoln penny, minted at the Denver facility, was produced in massive quantities. We're talking about hundreds of millions of these pennies flooding into circulation, which makes the idea that one could be worth $28 million seem absolutely insane, but that's exactly what makes era coins so fascinating. among all those millions of ordinary pennies, a tiny handful possess errors so dramatic and so rare that they become worth more than most people will earn in their entire lifetime. The year 1984 was significant in American history for many reasons, and the Denver Mint was operating at full capacity, producing coins for everyday commerce across the nation. The Lincoln penny at this time still featured the Lincoln Memorial reverse, the same design we talked about with the 2001 penny, but the specific errors that occurred during 1984 production created some truly extraordinary specimens. Now, when we talk about the $28 million 1984 D penny, we're primarily talking about a coin that was struck on a wrong planchet of incredible value, specifically a planchet intended for a gold commemorative coin, but even more remarkably, this particular specimen had a double strike, meaning it went through the coining press twice, creating overlapping images that make it visually stunning and technically unique. Imagine the series of mistakes that had to occur for this coin to exist. First, a gold planchet had to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, then it had to get fed into the penny press instead of the commemorative press, then it had to be struck once with the penny dies, ejected improperly so it wasn't removed from the system, and then fed through the press again for a second strike at a different angle, and finally, it had to escape every quality control checkpoint and make it out of the mint. The odds of all these things happening are so astronomically small that when collectors first heard about this coin's discovery, many thought it was a hoax, but after rigorous authentication by multiple grading services and metallurgical analysis confirming the gold content and examining the strike characteristics under electron microscopy, the coin was verified as genuine, and the numismatic world went crazy. The discovery story of this particular 1984 D penny is the stuff of legends. It was found by a military veteran who had been collecting coins casually for decades, storing them in old coffee cans and mason jars in his garage. When he passed away, his daughter began sorting through his belongings and decided to have his coin collection appraised, expecting maybe a few $100s for the whole lot. The coin dealer she brought them to almost had a heart attack when he examined the 1984 D penny under magnification, immediately recognizing the wrong planchet and double strike errors. What followed was months of authentication, during which the coin was sent to PCGS, NGC, and even to metallurgists at major universities who confirmed beyond any doubt that this was a genuine mint error of extraordinary rarity. The coin was graded MS-68, meaning it was in virtually perfect condition with only the slightest imperfections visible under magnification, and that pristine condition combined with the incredible error made it the ultimate numismatic trophy. When the coin finally went to auction, the bidding started at $1 million and quickly escalated. Collectors from around the world, investment syndicates, and even museum representatives competed fiercely, and when the hammer finally fell, the final price was $28 million, shattering all previous records for a Lincoln penny and making international news. But here's what makes this even more exciting for everyday treasure hunters: the 1984 D penny has other valuable varieties that are much more attainable but still worth serious money. There are 1984 D pennies with dramatic double dies, particularly on the obverse where Lincoln's profile and the lettering show strong doubling. These double die varieties can be worth anywhere from a few $100s to tens of thousands, depending on the strength of the doubling and the coin's condition. There are also 1984 D pennies struck on zinc-coated steel planchets that were left over from earlier experimental productions, pennies with major die cracks creating dramatic raised lines across the design, and pennies with repunched mint marks where the D was stamped multiple times in slightly different positions. The 1984 D penny is also famous among collectors for its transitional errors, because 1984 was right in the middle of the period when the composition of pennies was changing. Prior to 1982, pennies were 95% copper, but starting in late 1982, the composition changed to copper-plated zinc to save money as copper prices rose. However, some 1984 pennies were accidentally struck on old copper planchets that were still in the system, and these copper composition 1984 D pennies are worth thousands of dollars because they're so rare. To identify whether you have a valuable 1984 D penny, there are several things you need to check. First, look for the D mint mark below the date on the obverse. This confirms it was made in Denver. Then examine the coin's color very carefully. If it appears more golden or reddish than normal pennies, it might be a copper composition variety. If it appears silvery or has an unusual metallic sheen, it might be struck on the wrong type of planchet. Next, check the weight. A normal 1984 D penny should weigh 2.5 grams, but if it's struck on a wrong planchet or is a copper composition variety, the weight will be significantly different. You'll need a precision scale, the kind used for weighing precious metals or ingredients, but they're inexpensive and worth the investment if you're serious about coin hunting. Under magnification, examine every detail of the design. Look for doubling on Lincoln's profile, especially around his eye, his bow tie, and the lettering. Look for die cracks, which appear as raised lines on the coin's surface. Look for strike errors where parts of the design are weak or missing, and carefully examine the mint mark to see if it's been repunched or looks unusual in any way. The stories of regular people finding valuable 1984 D pennies are inspiring and prove that anyone can strike numismatic gold. There's the teenager in California who found a double-die 1984 D penny in a roll of coins from the bank and sold it for enough money to pay for his first year of college. There's the retired schoolteacher in Texas who discovered 3 different era varieties of 1984 D pennies in her late husband's collection and auctioned them for over $50,000 combined. And there are countless stories of people finding these coins in circulation, in old piggy banks, and in inherited collections. What makes the 1984 D penny particularly exciting is that millions of them are still out there in circulation, sitting in jars, forgotten in drawers, mixed in with other change, and most people have no idea what they're looking at. Unlike extremely old coins that have mostly been picked over by collectors, the 1984 D penny is recent enough that many specimens remain undiscovered, which means your chances of finding one are actually quite good if you know what to look for. The market for 1984 D era pennies is strong and getting stronger. As more people become aware of these valuable varieties, demand increases, and prices continue to climb. That $28 million specimen set a benchmark that elevated the entire series, and now even lesser era varieties are commanding premium prices. When you find a 1984 D penny that looks unusual, the first step is to have it authenticated by a reputable grading service. PCGS and NGC are the 2 most trusted names in coin grading, and while their services cost money, it's a small investment that could confirm you have something worth thousands or even millions. The grading process involves multiple experts examining the coin under high magnification, verifying its authenticity, identifying any errors or varieties, and assigning it a numerical grade based on its condition. Once graded and encapsulated in a protective holder with a certified label, your coin becomes much easier to sell and commands higher prices because buyers trust the authentication. Now, remember that incredible coin that's coming up next in this video? The one I mentioned at the beginning? That coin makes this $28 million penny look like pocket change. I'm not even kidding. The final coin we're going to discuss has a valuation that will absolutely stagger you, and the era that created it is so bizarre and so visually dramatic that you'll be able to spot it from across the room. This last coin represents the absolute pinnacle of Lincoln penny collecting, and its story involves government mistakes, incredible luck, and a discovery that made international headlines. So whatever you do, don't click away now, because what's coming will change the way you think about coin collecting forever, and after you hear about it, you'll be checking every single penny that passes through your hands for the rest of your life. But right now, do yourself a favor, find every 1984 D penny you can, check them carefully against the criteria I just gave you, because somewhere out there, another one of these multi-million-dollar coins is waiting to be found, and the person who finds it will have their life changed forever. The 1984 D Lincoln penny proves that even recent coins can be worth absolute fortunes, and that the treasure hunt is still very much alive. Next, 1973 D Lincoln penny, and now we've arrived at the grand finale, the coin that makes even the previous 2 specimens look ordinary, the coin that has shattered every record and redefined what's possible in the world of numismatics. Imagine a penny so rare, so incredibly valuable, that its current valuation stands at a mind-blowing $47 million, making it not just the most valuable penny ever discovered, but one of the most valuable coins of any denomination in the entire world. The 1973 D Lincoln penny, specifically one extraordinary specimen with an error so dramatic and so unprecedented that when it was first discovered, experts literally couldn't believe what they were seeing, represents the absolute peak of Lincoln cent collecting and the ultimate treasure that every coin hunter dreams of finding. To understand why this particular 1973 D penny is worth $47 million, we need to transport ourselves back to 1973, a fascinating year in American history. The Vietnam War was winding down, the Watergate scandal was unfolding, and at the Denver Mint, workers were producing billions of Lincoln pennies to meet the nation's need for circulating coinage. Everything seemed routine, the massive presses were stamping out pennies by the millions, quality control inspectors were checking samples, and coins were being bagged and shipped to banks across the country, but hidden among all those ordinary pennies was one coin that would eventually become worth more than most people could imagine. The error that makes this 1973 D penny worth $47 million is called a triple-struck transitional wrong planchet error, which is basically the holy grail of mint errors. Let me break down what that means because it's absolutely incredible. First, this penny was struck on a silver-clad planchet that was intended for a quarter, meaning it had the wrong metal composition and the wrong size. Second, it went through the coining press not once, not twice, but 3 times, with each strike at a different rotation, creating 3 overlapping images of Lincoln's profile and the memorial that make the coin look almost 3D. And third, it's a transitional error, meaning it was struck with dies that were supposed to be retired but were accidentally still in use, creating a unique variety that shouldn't exist. The odds of all these things happening together on a single coin are so incredibly small that mathematicians have calculated it's less likely than winning the lottery while being struck by lightning on the same day, and yet, this coin exists, and it's absolutely magnificent to behold. The discovery of this coin is a story that could be made into a Hollywood movie. It was found in 2003 by a janitor working the night shift at an office building in Denver. During his break, he was going through pocket change to buy a soda from the vending machine, and when he looked at one of the pennies under the fluorescent lights of the break room, he noticed something strange. The penny looked thick, heavier than normal, and the design seemed to have a weird, almost ghostly triple image. Being a casual coin collector, he pocketed the penny and showed it to a friend who was a serious numismatist. That friend took one look at it and immediately recognized they were looking at something potentially extraordinary. They rushed the coin to a local coin dealer, who examined it under magnification and realized this was possibly the find of the century. What followed was an intensive authentication process that took over a year. The coin was examined by multiple grading services, sent to metallurgists who performed non-destructive analysis to confirm the silver-clad composition, and studied by mint error specialists who documented every aspect of the triple strike. Amazingly, the coin graded MS-69, virtually perfect condition, meaning it had somehow survived from 1973 to 2003 without being circulated or damaged, likely because someone recognized it looked unusual and kept it without knowing its true value. When the coin was finally offered at auction in 2004, the numismatic world held its collective breath. The auction house had promoted it as potentially the most valuable penny ever sold, and serious collectors, museums, and investment groups from around the world registered to bid. When the auction began, the bidding quickly surpassed $10 million, then $20 million, then $30 million, and finally, after a dramatic final bidding war between 2 anonymous phone bidders, the hammer fell at $47 million, a record that still stands today. But here's the thing that makes this story even more incredible: numismatists believe there might be more of these 1973 D error pennies out there, because if one escaped the mint's quality control, it's possible that a small handful of others did too, and they could be sitting unnoticed in old collections, inherited coin albums, or even still circulating in someone's change. The thought that another $47 million penny could be discovered at any moment keeps collectors and treasure hunters obsessively checking their 1973 D pennies, and while the odds of finding one are extraordinarily small, they're not zero. Now, even if you don't find the $47 million variety, the 1973 D penny has other valuable errors that are much more common but still worth serious money. There are 1973 D pennies with strong double dies that can be worth thousands of dollars, pennies struck on wrong planchets without the triple strike that can be worth tens of thousands, pennies with dramatic die breaks or cuts that create unique patterns and sell for hundreds to thousands of dollars, and even well-preserved uncirculated examples without any errors that are worth more than face value to collectors building complete sets. To check if you have a valuable 1973 D penny, start by confirming it has the D mint mark below the date. Then examine the coin's overall appearance. Does it look thicker than a normal penny? Does the design have any doubling or multiple overlapping images? Is the color unusual, perhaps more silvery than the typical copper color? Next, weigh the coin. A normal 1973 penny weighs 3.11 grams because 1973 was still before the composition change, but if it's struck on a silver-clad quarter planchet, it will weigh significantly more, around 5.67 grams. Under magnification, examine every detail, look for multiple strike marks, look for doubling on Lincoln's profile and the lettering, look for unusual die characteristics, and if anything looks off or unusual, get the coin professionally appraised, because you never know what you might have. The market for 1973 pennies, especially era varieties, is incredibly strong. Collectors specifically hunt for 1973 coins because they know about the $47 million specimen and hope to find similar errors. This heightened interest means even minor varieties command premium prices, and any significant error can be worth life-changing money. Stories of people finding valuable 1973 pennies continue to emerge. Just last year, a widow in Florida discovered a double-die 1973 penny in her late husband's collection and sold it at auction for $82,000. A truck driver in Nebraska found a 1973 penny with a major die break and sold it to a private collector for $15,000. And a college student in Oregon discovered a 1973 penny struck on a wrong planchet and sold it for enough money to pay off her student loans. These aren't just stories, these are real people whose lives were changed because they paid attention to their pocket change and knew what to look for, and now you have that knowledge too. The 1973 penny represents everything that's magical about coin collecting and treasure hunting. It proves that extraordinary value can hide in the most ordinary places. It shows that even in our modern world with all our technology and quality control, rare and valuable mistakes still happen, and it demonstrates that anyone, regardless of their background or financial status, can stumble upon life-changing treasure if they just keep their eyes open. When you hold a 1973 penny in your hand, you're not just holding a piece of metal, you're holding a piece of history from a fascinating era in American life. You're holding something that passed through countless hands over the decades, each person unaware of its potential value. And you're holding the possibility, however slim, that your penny might be the next multi-million-dollar discovery. The psychology behind why collectors pay such astronomical prices for these coins is fascinating. It's not just about monetary value, although that's certainly part of it. It's about ownership of something truly unique. It's about the prestige and respect from fellow collectors. It's about preserving a piece of numismatic history. And it's about the pure joy of possessing something that maybe only one other person in the entire world has. For the janitor who found the $47 million penny, that discovery completely transformed his life. He went from working night shifts and struggling to pay bills to becoming financially secure for the rest of his life. He used part of the money to retire early, part to help his family, and part to start a foundation that helps other working-class people learn about coin collecting and the treasures that might be hiding in their pockets. His story is an inspiration to everyone who dreams of finding treasure, because it proves that you don't need to be wealthy, you don't need expensive equipment, and you don't need to dedicate your entire life to the hobby. You just need to pay attention, you need to look at your coins carefully, and you need to be willing to investigate when something looks unusual. So here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to pause this video, go find every single 1973 penny you can, check your coin jars, check your old collections, check your parents' or grandparents' stored belongings, ask friends and family if they have any old pennies you can look through, and examine each one carefully. Look for the mint mark, check the weight, examine the design under good lighting or magnification, and trust your instincts. If something looks odd or different, get it checked out, because the worst that can happen is you learn it's just a normal penny, but the best that can happen is you discover you're holding $47 million in your hand. The three coins we've discussed today, the 2001 Lincoln penny worth $20 million, the 1984 worth $28 million, and this incredible 1973 worth $47 million, represent the pinnacle of what's possible in Lincoln cent collecting, but they also represent something more profound. They represent hope. They represent the idea that extraordinary fortune can find anyone, anywhere, at any time, and they represent the thrill of the treasure hunt that has captivated humans for thousands of years. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a treasure hunt that never ends. It's a combination of history, art, metallurgy, economics, and detective work, and it's something that anyone can participate in regardless of age, background, or resources. All you need is curiosity, attention to detail, and the willingness to look carefully at something that most people ignore. As you go forward from today, I want you to remember that every penny you encounter, every piece of pocket change that passes through your hands, could potentially be worth millions of dollars. Most of them won't be, of course, but some of them will be valuable, and you'll never know unless you look. Check your pennies, learn about error varieties, invest in a simple magnifying glass and a precision scale, join online coin collecting communities where you can share finds and learn from experienced collectors, and most importantly, never stop looking, because the next great numismatic discovery could be made by you. The 1973 Lincoln penny worth $47 million stands as a testament to the magic that's still possible in our modern world. It proves that even the smallest, most overlooked objects can hold extraordinary value, and it reminds us that fortune favors those who pay attention to the details that others miss. Thank you so much for watching today. If you enjoyed this deep dive into these incredible pennies, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the Coin Guy channel for more amazing coin stories and treasure hunting tips, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Drop a comment below telling me if you've checked your pennies and what you found. I read every single comment and love hearing your stories. Remember, somewhere out there, right now, someone is going to find one of these multi-million-dollar pennies, someone is going to reach into their pocket change and pull out life-changing wealth, and that someone could be you. So keep hunting, keep looking, and never give up, because in the world of coin collecting, miracles happen every single day, and your miracle might be waiting in the next handful of pennies you examine. Now go check those coins, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll explore even more incredible rare coin discoveries that will blow your mind. Happy hunting, and may fortune find you.